Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of the Coach's Corner. My name is Marcus. Assuredly, I have a plethora of issues, but I bring to the table my life experiences from the lessons that I have learned to encourage you and to cheer you on to the finish line. My hope and my trust is that this For More for Life campaign, day 24, as we talk about the life campaign ads that you are sending out, will encourage you to take note that no matter where you are, what happens, what situation you're in, you are the common denominator in it all. Welcome to the Coach's Corner. Stand by. Well, welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner. And I tell you, that engineer is on it today, but yesterday, I tell you, we suffered through something, didn't we? I trust that you guys are following along. This is day 24, and you are making every effort to ensure that you have all the succinct subjects in a notebook. You want to know how studious are you. Most people just listen to something and they just go by the wayside. You know they say that you only retain out of 100% presence, 25% of that is all you retain, if that. Excuse me, if that. That it takes a repetitive listen in order to be able to solidify more content from an experience, particularly intelligence, where intelligence is required and subject matter may be somewhat academic. You only have a chance, a fourth of a chance, due to several factors. Hence why we take notes, why we download and listen. I've encouraged you and given you some tips about listening when you're not listening. That's a great way to train your subconscious mind, is to listen without listening. I know there's probably a big word for that, but I use so many words, I don't want to overwhelm you with another big word. But what I mean by that is you listen intently, unintently. For instance, while you're doing something, you're just letting it play. A great time to listen is when you're going to sleep, to play extremely soft. Extremely soft. If you're like me, you don't like hardly anything playing while you're sleeping, unless it's some music, and even then you want it off. You want it, you know what I'm saying? You want it off. Just turn it off. But you let it play extremely low. I do mean low, to where you can hear it, but very, very faintly. Or put it in your headphones. Because these things that I'm talking about, most of you, if you've listened to it one time, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. These things that I'm sharing with you are not from some book somewhere I read off of Amazon.com somewhere. These things are written in blood. They're written in blood, and we're talking about part 2 of the life campaign ads. Life campaign ads. Life campaign ads. What are you advertising? Do you even know? Do you even know what you're advertising? Most of us don't. include myself. Sometimes I don't know what I'm advertising, or there, in the times past I did not know. But then there's a auto advertisement going on inside of you that has an auto sync to it. In other words, if you are tuned in spiritually, tuned in physically, tuned in emotionally, tuned. You know what tuned mean? That means you're able to sync with the piano or the guitar. You're able to sync with that particular note. You're able to sync with a scale of notes. And I believe that in every human being there's an auto sync. There's an auto sync in every human being. And the auto sync, it says, the auto sync says that when you reach a certain level, things automatically in certain areas fall in place. Somebody's trying to talk to me. That's why I pause right there. Things automatically fall in place. For instance, there's a old principle and biblical principle that says, if you keep your mind on God, He will keep you in perfect peace. Right? And then there's another one that says, a peace that passeth all understanding. So when you do certain things with your mind, that I want to say you activate your auto sync. You won't have to think about it. That's where faith comes at. When you do certain things, you auto sync yourselves to results. I felt that. Auto sync yourselves to results, because there's certain things that you were built with. But there may be other things in the way. Now, I mean, it doesn't negate the fact that there are not other things in the way to block your syncing. But you have it in you. I have it in me. We all have something in us. And when we do the book, by that time we'll have the actual name for that. I'll search for it until I find it, because I know that every human being has an auto sync. It's built in. That's what makes us the human race. That's what makes us a step above an animal. It's like, for instance, your auto sync within reasoning says, if you do me in, I will not forgive and forget. Now that's within the intellectual reasoning portion of our brain power, if you will. But the true auto sync will begin when you forgive. I felt that right there. Because until then, your campaign ad is, I want you to control me. I wish I could go deep. Some of y'all, if y'all would talk to me and let me know how this is helping you, because what we getting ready to do, we finna switch gears and make this more exclusive, because you're not sharing. You're not sharing whether this is helping you or not. But let me just give you an example of what you're going to be missing when we go exclusive on www.sibntelevision.com and other SIBN websites. We're finna go exclusive because we're not hearing from you. We don't know how this is helping you. You're not talking. You're not sharing. This has become a one-way street for some of you, and that's not going to work. Relationships are never to be one-way street where you take everything you can and never give anything. Never send the email. But getting back to what I was saying, if you don't forgive someone, the intellectual reasoning says, if you do me in, if you cross my line, I will not forgive you and I will not forget. And there are things that you and I could talk about, and we both would intellectually say in our consciousness, hell to the no. If you do that, you're done. But spiritual principle always rises above soulish and intellectual reasoning. And so if you do not forgive, because there is a principle that rises higher than the intellect and the reasoning of the intellect. You are subject to advertise, I am a victim. Anybody that knows anything about victims know I am weak. I am incapacitated. I am lacking efficiency. This is what you're advertising. You probably didn't know it. I mean, I can think about my father, and as a child, I hated him. I hated my father, but I loved him at the same time. But I hated him. I hated him for the things he did to me. I hated him for the things he said to me. You're a black man. And they say that black men steal, lie, and cheat. And I would not have a thief and a liar and a cheat in my house. You know. He never forgave his father. Can you tell? Because what he advertised, fear. That's what victims advertise, fear. So he put that fear in me. And growing up as a young black boy, afraid. And studying so many books, you couldn't pry me away from a book. Then one day he told me, he said, well, you don't have a book in your hand? I said, no, sir. I'm trying to use examples to show you what we advertise. He said, you don't have a book? I said, no, sir. He said, get the dictionary. Because a black man's vocabulary must be second to none. I mean, you know, what do you think I did? I got the dictionary, and that's what I studied. He said, where are you? And one day he asked me, he said, where are you now? I'm still on the A's. I'm on the A section. I'm serious. Go right down the line, study the words, read the definitions out loud, sometimes write them out, keep going till you get to the B's and the C's and the D's and the E's. Kind of cruel, huh? That made me who I am today. Because when the auto sync button began to sync my predestined plan, path with my elective principle, I elected to forgive. I hated him. I hated him so bad I wanted to die. I spent most of my years as a child in deep depression, very, very deep depression. Went to suicide a couple of times, was in the hospital several times, kicked out of several schools. Oh man, if you hear my story, yeah, I am a miracle. And listen, and while doing all the things that I did, was never on drugs. Didn't say I didn't try it. Didn't say I didn't try it. Had a lot of Caucasian friends, and high on some of everything. But just the fear that was there did protect me from being a drug addict. Though I tried to be one, it didn't work. And the fear was too strong. But I did everything else I was big enough to do because I hated my father. But it was until I released him, forgave him, that my auto sync kicked in. Oh my goodness, that's just a good thing to think about right there. When you forgive, since the principle of forgiveness rise higher than your intellect, you always tap into the auto sync and then begin to change the advertisement that hitherto you had been sending out. In unforgiveness, you're sending out fear. I want you to control me. I'm a victim. I'm weak. I can't handle this, and a whole lot of other things. I'm in denial. This didn't happen to me. So if something happened to you, you say it didn't happen to you. What's gonna happen? It's gonna happen again. Denial does not delay the distribution of more dumbness, if you will. Denial does not delay the distribution of dumbness. Just because you deny it's not there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stop coming your way. Why do I keep attracting bad men? Denial of the fact. See, you accepting that you attract bad men, but you're not accepting it as something in you that's attracting them to you. So they gonna keep coming. They gonna keep rolling in like steamrollers. You met another one. It is, mama. You tell your girlfriend, hey, I got one now. A man is sometimes a man is a pitiful thing because men are achievement based. You don't know that by now. You missed out. Women are relational based. Let's talk about the pictures for that for a minute. Men are achievement based. I don't care what kind of man you get. Gay man, straight man, fat man, skinny man, saved man, sinner man. They're all achievement based. They're not dogs. They're just achievement based. Women are relational based. Plain and simple. You got to get that down in your mindset about the two. And so the picture that you want to send out to a man, and I don't want to go deep into it because my time is pretty much gone, but the picture that you want to send out, the advertisement that you want to put out when you're looking for love, is that I can speak to your dreams. I can speak into your dreams. Not do you have a job? You don't want to antagonize a man with do I have a job? In other words, you're saying have you accomplished anything? No. If you got to ask that question, you shouldn't even be sitting at that table on that date. I'm just gonna tell you straight from my perspective. Get up from the freaking table, leave the date, tell your girlfriend sorry. If you gotta ask a man, do he have a job, you have just insulted the center of a man's intelligence. Even if he didn't have one. If you gotta ask that kind of question, then you are not in the presence of a man that's getting ready to make something happen. Because a man, when he is really in his game, it has nothing to do with income, but when a man is on his game, it's going to emanate from him. He can barely sleep. He gets up early. He goes to bed late. He dresses the part. He humbles himself. He has an organization to it. He has an ethnicity to it. I felt that right there. You see what I'm saying? You ask a man, so do you have a job? If you got to ask a man, do he have a job, then you don't need that man, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Because men are accomplished based. You meet a real man, you're going to see he going to brag about his accomplishments. Oh, man, my time is out. Y'all don't want to go. If you see a true man, because he's achievement based, he is going to advertise about it. So let's just talk about that real quickly. The advertisement that we also send out is also DNA driven. Part of our campaign ads are misread because we don't understand how one another is made. I have grandchildren. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love them and all of that, but I didn't already. This is my man's. This is this is the man's way, right? I done paid my dues. Parent for well over 20-something years. I know I'm always be a parent, but you know what I'm talking about. And I don't want to hear all that crying. I don't want to smell all them diapers and all of that. And I don't want to see all that stuff all over the floor. I mean, it may be on the floor, but I don't want to look at it. Why? Because I have accomplished. I felt something right there. I have accomplished my mission. Okay. And I mean, you try to get a man to revisit an old mission that's supposed to be accomplished, you about ready to get in some trouble. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. This is the base of who we are. And women, you try to shut them up by talking about their girlfriends or their kids or their moms or their dads or uncles or grandmother, whatever, aunties, co-workers. you about ready to start something. They're going to always have 1,000 more words to say than the man's 10 words when it comes to people, because they are people driven. Men are project driven. Y'all don't want to face that. And so you want to know, if you want love and a relationship that's helpful, then you be first authentic to yourself and authentic through and through. But what you also want to do is you want to listen and watch for the campaign ads that represent what men are. And some of you ladies got that down, but you need to take the next step. You know, it's the next step. When you're in a relationship, let me just say this: the campaign ads that lie dormant are saved for the 5th hour, the 12th hour, so to speak. There are things inside of us that you don't even know they're there until you're under a certain amount of pressure, until a pressure point has reached a certain capacity that calls upon the corridors of the dark rooms to speak in response to a severe crisis and a severe calamity or catastrophe. There are things inside of you that is beyond your conscious description. There are things inside of you that stretches beyond your stock. What you think is inside of you goes deeper, longer, higher, wider. Why? Because you didn't make yourself. You are composed and have been shaped and formed. And the DNA that is inside of you has a combustive power, as they say, not to be set by anything explosive, because you even have electricity inside of you. There is something about the human body, the human brain. There's something about the human faith, even, to be able to surrender one's reasoning and one's intelligence, to subject oneself to such a spiritual principle that you can't see, a God that you can't touch. I feel something pushing me right now. You understand what I'm saying? What do you advertise? Listen, part of what you advertise you can control, and part of it you can't. Some parts of your advertisement campaign won't line up until you let go of some trash, and then auto syncing will happen. Auto syncing, like that one word about that peace. You keep your mind on Him. He'll give you a peace that passes the reasoning capacity. Imagine that. Imagine you live such a life that reasoning has to bow down in honor. See, part of the reason why we're stuck is because we make reason and intellect the king of all in our life. We make what we can do, what we can accomplish, the king. It becomes funny, really. I mean, as sharp as reasoning is dressed, Sunday sharp. Reasoning, intelligence, dressed Sunday sharp. You know what I'm saying. You can't touch it with it. It seemed like you couldn't touch it, right? But reasoning must always, intellect must always bow down to the unseen principle. Felt that right there. The next person you honor enhances your auto campaign. The next person you honor. See, most people don't have honor anymore. And that's why your campaign ad is saying disrespect me, and you keep getting situations where people disrespect you because you're not advertising, you're not honoring other people, you're not respecting other people, you're taking shortcuts and you're getting cut short, and then you're wondering why you're attracting to you folks that dishonor you and disrespect you. Well, because deep down inside, you have dishonored some crucial people in your life. And when we dishonor someone, we're advertising the opposite. You can disrespect me because I have no honor. I wish I had some help. I wish I had some help. I have no honor. So therefore, the campaign ad that you're advertising that's going on to 6 o'clock, right before the 6 o'clock news is, you can disrespect me. You can take advantage of me. You can say what you want to me because internally I have no honor. And then you try to back that up with an excuse. Well, I don't honor my mother because she's a drug addict. So what? Well, I don't honor my father because he's an alcoholic. So what? The moment that you place honor on behavior or performance, you've missed the intent of honor. The whole intent of honor is to keep order, to maintain regiment and protocol. How the heck you going to excuse not honoring your mother and your father? Oh, my father did this. So what? My father wasn't there. So what? We all got a story. Stop acting like you're the only one got a story. We all got a story about what happened to us. But you don't never stop honoring somebody because they did something to you. This is a hard lesson the coach has learned. Honor. So that you can receive honor. You see there? Did you catch that? You give honor that you may be honored. I felt that right there. You give honor that you may be respected. If you do something, this is my final thought. If you do, or if you compose your life on the bedrock of reasoning, you will be defeated. Because reasoning will always tell you an eye for an eye. Reasoning will always tell you you're not going to get over on me. Reasoning will always tell you they did this to me and I got to get them back. Reasoning will always tell you you can't afford to do X, Y. Reasoning will kill every dream you got going. That's why we walk by faith, people. You walk by faith and you advertise. What do you advertise when you walk by faith? Anything is possible. You see what I'm saying? You're walking by faith for a reason. You're practicing spiritual principle. Why? Because you want to advertise. Remember now, because the ad goes out involuntarily. The ad goes out effortlessly. When we talk about campaign ads, we're not talking about what you can control. You're sending this out without trying. It's like breathing. If you honor the folks that did you in, guess what? You tap into a spiritual principle, and then all of a sudden what happens now, you auto sync. That's involuntary. Then you begin to see things happen in your mind, in your spirit, and even in your emotions. Your emotions will come around after a while. You tell emotions, get on up here and follow me. Don't you follow your emotions. And eventually, all of a sudden, what you're going to see is the same types of people stop coming around you. The same types of people stop dumping on you. The same type of people stop trying to hire you. The folk that hired or don't want to finish their contract. You feel where I'm going with that. But your life campaign ads are on autopilot. You can't control it. You can't control it up front. You have to go into the dark room. I'm out of time. I am out of time. I just, I told you we go longer in 2013. We're going longer, harder in the paint. You can't control it up front. By the time you try to control it up front, it's too late. The ad is already out. But if you do tap into any spiritual principle, you auto sync yourself. Because God advertised about you before you wanted to advertise you. I gotta go. Y'all don't want to go. Yeah, I mean, come on. God thought about you before you thought about yourself. God thought about you first. So what I want you to do is this. Take a long, hard look at you. and see, if you can, what you are advertising. The only way you're going to change it, you got to go in the dark room. That's going to be my new series right after For More for Life. You got to be honest. Stop lying to yourself. Stop taking shortcuts. Face the music. You got issues. All of us do. Well, until next time, it's the coach. Follow me if you can.